My wife was ashamed of me. She told her friends she married beneath her. Her mother laughed the first time she saw my car. To them, I was the broke, average husband she settled for. But while they mocked my shoes and my car, every spa day, every designer bag, every vacation she posted online was paid for by the broke man who actually owns a multi-million-dollar company. My name is Marcus Okafor. I'm 34 years old. I am a 60% shareholder in Meridian Tech, one of the largest software companies in Atlanta. I grew up in Ajegunle, Lagos. If you know, you know. My father was a drunk who spent whatever little he had on ogogoro and arguments. My mother ran a small roadside buka near the junction, selling plates of rice to bus drivers and laborers. That woman fed my two sisters and me on pure grit and prayer. But I was sharp. Teachers noticed it early. I was the boy who came to school in torn sandals, but came first in every exam. 10 A1s in my WAEC. Top marks in JAMB. When Uncle Isaac, my mother's brother, who had moved to America years before, heard about my results, he applied to have me study in the States. I graduated with a first class in software engineering. Top of my class at the business school too. Not because I was trying to impress anyone, but because I knew what was waiting for me if I failed. Ajegunle doesn't let you forget where you came from. After business school, I started Meridian Tech with two white guys, Jake and Connor, whom I had met there. Sharp, well-connected, the kind of men who walk into a room and everyone assumes they're in charge. They became the face of Meridian, the panels, the magazine covers, the conference stages. I was the brains. I built the systems and wrote the code that became the backbone of everything Meridian sells today. I owned the largest share because I built the largest piece, but publicly, nobody knew my name. And I liked it that way. I drive a Toyota Camry. I wear simple, good quality clothes. I don't care for brands. I keep my circle small. I have good friends, but I keep my business under wraps. Most people who know me think I'm an employed software engineer. Until the music starts, I am a bad dancer. And by bad, I mean dangerously good. The kind of dancer who clears a circle on the floor because people need to stand back and watch. That's how I met her. It was a friend's Owambe in Buckhead. You know those Atlanta Nigerian parties where everybody is overdressed and the jollof is still the main topic of argument? I was on the dance floor doing my thing, and the crowd had already parted. People were filming. Someone was shouting, "Marcus!" in the background. It was a whole situation. Then she stepped in. Brazilian weave, expensive perfume, Jill tilted just right. She didn't ask permission. She just walked into the circle and matched my energy step for step. We danced like we'd rehearsed it. The crowd went mad. We talked for the rest of the night. She was funny, sharp, and confident. Her name was Daniela. She was originally from Lagos. She attended boarding school in England and earned her university degree in New York. So when she asked what I did, and I said, "I work in tech. It's comfortable." She nodded, like that was acceptable enough to keep talking. By the end of the night, she gave me her number. By the end of the month, we were inseparable. And I won't lie. There were moments when I thought I'd found the one. She cooked for me one Sunday, jollof rice with plantain and peppered chicken, and when I told her it was the best meal I'd had in years, her whole face lit up. That smile, that was the woman I married. The first time I brought her to my place in Alpharetta, it was a 4-bedroom house, in a nice neighborhood, on a quiet street. But inside, simple. IKEA furniture, clean lines, no drama. She looked around slowly. "This is really nice, but why are you spending so much rent on a 4-bed when you are single? It has so much potential though." I shrugged. She had assumed I was a tenant, so I did not think it was in good form to tell her I owned 5 houses, including mine on this street. Looking back now, I think she saw the Alpharetta postcode, calculated the house's value from the outside, and decided the inside was something she could fix once she had the ring. She held her tongue for the entire engagement, not a single complaint. Warm, attentive, loving. Everything I'd been searching for. By the end of the year, we were husband and wife, and I gave her a wedding she would never forget. I paid for everything. The venue in Buckhead, 300 guests, live band, enough jollof to feed a village. I bought her a designer wedding dress that made her cry. I flew her parents in from Nigeria in business class and put them up in a hotel for 2 weeks. Not once did Daniela ask how I afforded it. Not once did her mother say, "Marcus, this is too much, let us contribute." They just consumed it as if it were owed to them. And I watched. I always watch. The ring changed everything. Within 2 weeks, the woman who had called my house full of potential suddenly had a very different word for it. The inside doesn't match the area. We need to upgrade. Babe, you have a house in Alpharetta and you're driving a Camry? It doesn't add up. That was her favorite phrase. It doesn't add up. Potential had become problem. Her friends' husbands drove Range Rovers and G-Wagons. Their wives carried Chanel and Dior. They holidayed in the Maldives and posted every second online. Daniela would come home from brunch with these women and look at me like I was a stain on her reputation. Whenever I talked about investments and long-term thinking, her eyes would glaze over. I didn't marry you to hear about index funds, Marcus. I married you to live well. I gave her some things. I wasn't cruel, but I wasn't going to turn my home into a showroom for people who didn't pay my bills. Then she started comparing me to someone, Damilola. Damilola drives a BMW X5. Damilola just took his wife to Cancun. Damilola is a software consultant. He makes serious money. The way she said his name, like she was chewing something sweet. I asked her once, calmly, "How do you know so much about this Damilola?" "He's a friend. We went to the same uni in the UK. Stop being insecure, Marcus." I let it go, but I didn't forget. One evening, we were at her mother's house in Decatur for dinner. Mama Nkechi had never liked me, not before the wedding, not during it, and certainly not after. It didn't matter that I flew her business class from Lagos, put her up in a hotel for 2 weeks, and paid for every plate of food at the reception she danced through until midnight. Every time she saw me, it was the same snide comments about my clothes and my car. That evening, I was carrying in bags of rice and stew when I heard her from the kitchen. "Daniela, I keep telling you, this man cannot provide for you. Look at how he dresses. Chineka, a whole you with your beauty, your education, and this is what you settled for." And Daniela laughed. "Mommy, I know, but what can I do? At least I'm not alone. For now." I stood in the hallway, holding those bags, listening to my wife agree with her mother that I was a placeholder. My chest tightened. I wanted to walk in and say, "Mama, the wedding, my money, the hotel, mine, the flights, mine, this house your daughter complains about, I paid cash." But I didn't. I placed the bags on the counter, smiled at Mama Nkechi, and made a quiet promise to myself. If Daniela ever truly showed me she was only here for what she thought I could give her, I would let her reveal her true colors. Things got worse. She refused to be seen in my car. "Drop me 2 streets away, Marcus. You know how Nigerians are." She posted about her struggles online. Married to a man with no ambition is a special kind of punishment. She never mentioned my name, but every Nigerian auntie in Atlanta knew exactly who she meant. One Friday night, I went out with my boys. We were at a lounge in Buckhead, nothing fancy, just old friends catching up. I went to the bar to order drinks, and that's when I saw her, Daniela, across the room with a group of friends. But it wasn't the group that caught my eye. It was the man sitting beside her. His hand was on the back of her chair. She was leaning into him, laughing and touching his arm as she spoke. At one point, she whispered something in his ear, and he smiled in a way that made my stomach turn. It was the kind of closeness that doesn't belong between friends. You don't need anyone to tell you what you're looking at when you see it. I walked over, calm, steady, the way I do everything. The moment Daniela saw me, her whole body shifted. She sat up straight, moved her chair a few inches away from him, adjusted her smile like she was putting on a mask. "Marcus, what are you doing here?" "Too bright, too fast." "Out with friends," I said, looking at the man beside her. She followed my eyes and jumped in quickly. "Oh, this is Damilola, a very good friend from uni days. Damilola, this is my husband, Marcus." Damilola stood up, smiled widely, and shook my hand like we were old pals. "Great to finally meet you, bro. Daniela talks about you all the time." I smiled back. I'm sure she does. I didn't make a scene. I didn't raise my voice. I just looked at my wife, nodded once, and walked back to my friends. But I knew. From the way she shifted when she saw me. From the way she created distance in half a second. From the way she introduced him too fast, too cheerfully, like someone covering tracks they didn't expect to need to cover. A very good friend from uni days, sure. After that night, the late nights got worse. "I have to finish this project, Marcus. My team is behind." One Thursday, she came home smelling like hotel soap and cologne that wasn't mine. Her blouse was buttoned wrong. "Rough day?" I asked. You wouldn't understand, she snapped, heading straight to the shower. Then one evening she came home smiling. Marcus, we need to talk. She sat across from me at the kitchen table, which she always complained was too simple. Her eyes were cold. I want a divorce. No hesitation, no apology, like she was canceling a subscription. Oh, already found an upgrade? At least Damilola can afford to give me the life I deserve. You think I waited all these years to drive around in that tin can, living in a nice house with nothing nice inside? So you're leaving because you think I'm broke. She rolled her eyes. I know you're broke, Marcus. No real vacations, no proper gifts. I mean, look at you. She waved her hand at my faded t-shirt. I have wasted 2 years of my life with you. I'm not wasting any more. That night, she packed a suitcase and left, didn't even look back. 2 days later, I was served divorce papers. She wanted alimony. That was all she asked for, because she still assumed I was a tenant. I called my lawyer, Henry Obi. He's been handling my affairs since I was a nobody with a dream and a cheap laptop off Buford Highway. He read through the paperwork and looked up at me. She really thinks you're broke? She thinks I'm her mistake. He smiled slowly. Then let's give her exactly what she asked for, the truth. The mediation was at a law office in Buckhead. When I walked into the conference room, the air conditioning was humming, the fluorescent lights buzzing, and there was a jug of water on the table nobody was going to touch. Daniela was already seated with her lawyer. She looked me up and down like I was a stain on the carpet. Marcus, she said curtly, let's get this over with. Henry sat beside me, calm as Sunday morning. He placed a thick brown folder on the table. The mediator cleared her throat and began. Mrs. Okafor, spousal support, correct? Yes. And you believe my client has nothing? Henry asked gently. She laughed. He can keep the Toyota Camry. Henry opened the folder slowly, deliberately. He slid one document to the mediator, another toward Daniela. She glanced at it lazily, then frowned. Meridian Tech? What does this have to do with anything? Henry smiled, a slow, patient smile. Marcus Okafor is not a middle manager at Meridian Tech. He is one of the co-founders and the majority shareholder, 60% of the company's shares. Current valuation. He paused, just long enough. Mid-9 figures. Silence. The air conditioning hummed. Nobody moved. Daniela blinked, then blinked again. That can't be right. She looked at me, properly, for the first time in years. You're behind Meridian Tech? She whispered. I nodded once. Her lip trembled. But you drive and you wear, and the house. Simple, I finished. Because I wanted it that way. I wanted to know who would stand beside me without the money. That's all I ever wanted. The room was so quiet, I could hear her breathing. The house you complained about? Paid in full. The vacations you called modest? I paid for everyone. The wedding your mother danced through until midnight? Every last plate of food, every flight, every hotel room. Mine. I could have given you more, much more, but you didn't respect the man. You only wanted the wallet. She reached across the table, eyes filled with tears. Marcus, baby. If I had known, that's exactly the problem, I said softly. If you had known. I turned to the mediator. My lawyer will handle the rest. She can keep her personal belongings and whatever is fair under the law. But the house is mine. I bought it before we married, and my company is mine. Henry slid more documents across. We have documented evidence of infidelity and abandonment. My client is prepared to keep this clean and quiet, provided Mrs. Okafor signs today. Daniela burst into tears. Marcus, please, I didn't know who you really were. I stood up slowly. That's the thing, Daniela. You knew exactly who I was. You just didn't think I was enough. I placed my wedding ring on the table. The gold caught the light for a second, then just sat there. Small, quiet, final. And I walked out. No drama, no shouting, just the sound of my footsteps on the polished floor, getting lighter with every step. The first few months after the divorce were quiet. Not peaceful and quiet, empty quiet. The house felt bigger than 4 bedrooms. I'd come home from work, sit at that kitchen table she always hated, and eat alone. Some nights I didn't even bother cooking, just ordered Chinese and chilled with some Netflix. I won't pretend I didn't think about her. Not the Daniela who left, The one who walked onto that dance floor in Buckhead and matched me step for step. The one who made jollof rice and lit up when I said it was the best I'd ever had. That woman, I missed her. Or maybe I missed the idea of her. I'm still not sure. My boys checked on me. Uncle Isaac called from Houston every Sunday. My mother, God bless her, sent voice notes from Lagos asking if I was eating well. I told everyone I was fine, and eventually, I was. Months later, I heard through the grapevine that things with Damilola didn't last. You know how the Nigerian community talks. When the excitement faded, all that was left was a man who liked expensive things and a woman who had burned her bridge to the man who could actually afford them. I didn't look her up. I didn't check her page. That chapter was closed. These days, there's someone new. Her name is Amara. She teaches computer science in a secondary school in Marietta. Stunning woman figure, but very understated with a quiet warmth about her that fills up a room without making any noise. When I asked her what she wanted in a man, she said, kindness, honesty, peace. I can build the rest with him. She doesn't know what I own. And honestly, with her, it doesn't feel like it matters. One day, I'll show her the building with my name on it. But for now, I'm enjoying being just Marcus, the broke husband, who finally learned that his real value had nothing to do with the number of zeros in his bank account. What do you think? Should I have told Daniela about my assets from the beginning, or was I right to keep it from her? Leave your answer in the comment section.
Where are you viewing from? If this story held your attention, please like and subscribe for more stories like this.